You're listening to the Shipyard Cat Podcast, the unofficial SAFC podcast for fans everywhere. Hello and welcome back to another episode of the pod. Been thrown into the hot seat tonight is myself, Kev, because Adam's decided he can't figure out how to host this week because he's hurt his leg. And Robin's literally just walked in the door, so doesn't feel prepared for it, which I get. Fair play, Robin. Do you know what I mean? You've got to be planned for these things. So yeah, if you hadn't gathered, I'm joined by Adam and Robin. Adam, other than crying about your leg, how are you today?
Yeah, other than us and the poorly leg, yeah, generally, mate, yeah, I'm all good. Just got to get prepped for, obviously, this time tomorrow I'll be in Greece for a friend's wedding, so it's going to be a bit bizarre watching in a sunny climate us play Everton.
Well, this is true, mate. This is true. And Robin, yourself, you good?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Bit worried that actually Adam might make the flight, considering he doesn't know what time it is the day before. But there you go. That's probably why he's getting married, so he can have someone to tell him what to do.
Exactly.
Oh. This is true. This is true. But no, lads, look, obviously, it's been a few days now since we last recorded. Obviously, we did the review of the Man United game. Obviously, coming off the back of that, a 0-0 draw against a team that are currently sitting pretty third in the table. We now go and face another team that have done really well this season in Everton that are currently competing for the European spots. The third time we will have played them this season, in fairness. Obviously, it's an away trip. Let's be honest, we did all right at Hill Dickinson last time round. What do we make of this one, lads? Are we thinking the lads are now on the beach? Is a term I've seen used a bit on social, or do we think they're still going to show that passion and pride to get a result? Robin, I'll go with you first because Adam's currently grimacing.
Oh, he's probably thinking about being on the beach himself as well, to be fair. No, I actually think look, realistically, we're not going to finish in the top 7 to make Europe. However, it's not out the question, depending on the way that other results go. We can still do it. And I honestly feel with the mentality of this team, from obviously, the coach down through obviously Xhaka and his captaincy, and they always talk about levels and what we expect from the team. I don't think they've given up on it yet. I think they'll be going all out to win and keeping them faint hopes alive. Plus, as well, to me, the important thing is that we win. Because even if we don't make Europe, we finish above the visitors up the road, and it's got to go down as a successful season. I mean, let's face it, we all said at the start of the season we'd be happy with 17th place. That would feel like, a bit of a failure now after the season we've had. So, to me, we've still got to play for a top 10 finish, hopefully, and, like I say, finishing above the visitors.
Good shout. I mean, yeah, given the season we've had, I think you're right. I think if we started to slump further down the table now, we'd probably all be a little bit disheartened. So, yeah, finishing with a bit of strength and staying above the visitors is now probably the key. And as I've said in many pods,
I'm in agreement with Robin. I
think Adam might have already got the flight and he's lying to us about not knowing the time, because it sounds like he's on the beach somewhere.
Can I say the signal where you are, mate, is awful.
No. Can you guys hear me? Yeah, 100%. I can only but apologise. I just wanted to throw my little 10 pence into it. I'm in massive agreement with Robin, to be fair. I don't think the lads are going to be on the beach, just as pretty much what I'm going to be in my mind. I think it's the lads are just wanting to prove and go out there strong because, as you mentioned as well, Kev, we give a good account for ourselves way down there. I don't see why we can't replicate that, and if not, better that result, shall we say. I know we got a penalty shootout win, but at the end of the day, this is a 90-minute game, and I think we've got every other chance to get the win.
Well, to be fair to add on that, if it wasn't for an absolutely inept referee, they would have never been given a penalty in the first place, and we would have, ended up winning the match within the 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's half the problem, isn't it? That game was kind of blurred by the officials, which I don't want to get into because let's be honest, they haven't painted themselves in glowing light this week. VAR's been involved in far too many things this week that have changed results for various teams. I mean, if anyone's bored, have a look at what it's done to the Scottish League. 2-3 decisions this week have gone in favour of Celtic, and all of a sudden now the title race is on for them. But we're not talking about that. Let's talk about our game. Yeah, for me, I think this is just a case of trying to get some points on the board to finish as high as we can. And like I said in previous pods, the higher you finish, the better it looks for you for recruitment. A team that finishes 10th plus is a more attractive option than someone who finishes 17th. And as we've previously said, finishing 17th and not dropping in the relegation zone would have, probably been classed as a success. So, yeah, we take on Everton now, and well, I just hope Pickford's thinking, I'll look after me lads. He's not gonna. Obviously, he's got a job to do, but it would be nice if he just thought, go on, have this one.
Yeah, look, I get what you're saying there, Kev, but realistically, for Everton as well, they want to finish possibly in Europe as well. So obviously Pickford will be looking at his own club and doing the right thing by them, which is, 100% right. That's what he's got to do. However, to go on a tangent, obviously because you brought it up, Kev, VAR, obviously we had the absolute debacle of, the West Ham equaliser that wasn't given for a foul on Raya, which obviously Arsenal have been doing to other teams all year long. But then, like you say, Scotland, every single person in the world, apart from if you support Celtic, didn't see anything wrong with that. And yet, Celtic and the VAR and the referee that took 20 seconds and 3 looks at a dodgy replay managed to decide it was a penalty. So, yeah, we've got VAR this time at Hill Dickinson, which obviously if we had VAR in the FA Cup, we would have won it. So let's be positive and think that we'll be on the good end of a decision this week with it being correct. However, the way things have been going lately, I mean, who knows? If you're going to get the VAR decision right, go and put the lottery on tomorrow because the chances are you might be lucky.
Fair point. I mean, do we see any wholesale changes? Obviously, we've seen from the press conference today that Bertrand's back in training and should be fit to play. Do you see any changes at the front? Do we see Isidore getting a start? Do we keep it as it was? Do we keep Robbie in place? Can we see any mixing up going on?
For me, no. I think because he wants to still finish this season strong, he wants to keep his strongest 11 as best as he can. I think that means like Bertrand Traore will probably be on the bench, and probably I think we'll see not a cameo appearance. I think he'll get a good, say, 10, 15 minutes run out, see what his fitness levels are like. But it's going to be one of them I think it's going to be just going to go all at it with the strongest 11 that we've got, which is basically an unchanged squad from last game.
Well, Robin, you
Yeah.
made me chuckle there when he said not cameo appearance and then said 10 minutes. I'm guessing that's what you're going to come in at.
Obviously, Adam's brain's on the beach already, isn't it? So, Um, yeah, look, let's not pick on the lad. You know, we'll get complaints otherwise, won't we?
Exactly.
Yeah, but that would
But
just
no,
be his
I agree,
misses.
Adam. I don't think there'll be any changes. I think the starting 11 from last week will be the starting 11 from this week. The only thing that I would like to see different, and this is a thing, is make some changes on 60 minutes. Let's bring some fresh legs on and go for it. You know, let's not wait until the 85th minute to change anything. You know, let's be positive. If something's not working on 60 minutes, if things aren't working, then let's make changes. Let's maybe bring Bertrand on for half an hour. Let's bring Tarby on, or Angulo. I mean, I don't think Tarby's back yet, isn't he? But Angulo, let's bring him on. Let's bring Wilson on. Let's bring Myender on. Let's, change things up a bit rather than stick to the same formula until we're in the 80th minute plus. Let's actually try and do something positive to affect the outcome of the game rather than wait and wait and wait, thinking we don't want to concede, we don't want to concede. We've been good at the back all season, and let's face it, he's not really going to be subbing off Xhaka and Siddiqui.
Yeah.
So let's look at the front four sort of thing, or I'll say no, front three, maybe the two wide men and Robbie, because Enzo needs to stay on the pitch to me. Unless he's injured or something like that, or he's picked up a knock, I think Enzo has to play the 90. But let's look at changing it up top and giving Everton something else to think about. Let's bring on that pace that we've got. Let's bring on Wilson's pace or Myender's directness, or Traore's running. I mean, the thing is, for Traore, obviously he's done the defensive side very well as well this season when he's been fit. I mean, obviously we've got to think of Chris Rigg as well. And getting him game time. I mean, if Enzo does come on, then that's to me is where I think we need Riggy to be in. Because that's where he was playing for the unders, when he was really coming through and looking good. Not maybe as much advanced as what Enzo is in that number 10, but he was playing as the advanced midfielder and linking things up. And he's one for the future. So let's give him, some belief in that in himself and maybe put him in that thing where he can pick a pass out or have a shot and stuff like that. Because the lad has got a goal in him. Let's bring him central where he can affect the game to me.
Go on, Adam.
No, like Robin's hit the nail on the head with Riggy, because the abundance of talent inside Riggy can only grow, get stronger, and if you look at the peers that he's got around him to help him grow in that position, and the fact being he's got likes of Xhaka there as well to be like, the ceiling is that, like, you can go above and beyond, you can get great, you can become a household name. And I think that we've seen in the past few weeks with Ricky, the confidence is getting there and it's getting better and better and better. He's not just running forward and trying to get forward with the ball and play somebody in. He's tracking back as well. He's making those runs back, making those tackles to go, right, I've got the ball, lay it off to, say, Hume, Mukiele, whoever, and go, right, build up the attack again. And it's nice to see, and I think it's one of those that'd be interesting to see if he kind of gives Ricky a chance to be free roam. But obviously, I know I speak highly about Enzo anyway because he's my golden boy. But I think I'm a massive agreement with Robin. Enzo needs to play a full 90. Whether it be Wilson up top, Robbie up top, he will manage to feed that ball to one of them to put them through to potentially get a winning goal or a couple of goals.
Yeah, I mean that's the only reason I sort of threw the Wilson thing into the mix as well was because obviously he's had another international call up today for Haiti. His confidence will be high in the fact that that's come up. And I think that's probably the one thing that is lacking at the minute is we are missing a finisher. And I know Wilson's dropped off a little bit. Obviously, he started really well at the start of the season, but that for me is where we now need to sort of see how we're getting on to start planning on the recruitment drive. You know, every window that happens, everyone's looking for a striker. I don't necessarily think we need a striker in the purest sort of way of the word. We need to get the ones we've got producing more, if that makes sense. Because one of the things I did pick up on the highlights from the United game was we were all over United, but we lacked a finishing touch. I'm watching matches whilst I'm bored, and you see some goals where people are just. It's about having the shot. I think that's something you've said in the past, Robin. We just need to shoot more. And sometimes you get that little bit of luck or you get that moment of magic and you get something out of it. And I think that's where we've been lacking a little bit.
I mean, to me, what I'd like to see with the likes of Wilson coming in, like I said, like with the substitutions. Look, obviously, Regis loves Robbie, and I love him. He's a great old-fashioned centre forward, but he's not a prolific striker. And I know some people are like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Well, it does, because an old-fashioned centre forward was there to play the ball up, to hold the ball off, to lay it off to. Back in the day, you used to have what was called inside forwards, where they weren't wingers. They'd play narrow behind the front man, and they'd be running off him all the time. Or like the Quinn and Phillips days, you'd play the big man, little man. Robbie's strengths are holding the ball up and letting people run off him. However, because of the way we're set up, we don't have that many people up running off of him. And I think at times during the season, we've been too one-dimensional. And I think teams can set up against us. At first, when we went on the start of the season and we were surprising teams, it was in our favour because people didn't know what to expect. But then obviously it doesn't take long in the Premier League for teams to work you out. And I'm not saying Regis has been worked out and he's finished, because he's certainly not. But what I want to see is some variations in his play, and that's why I think we need the pace. We need the front men, because, like we said, the Diarra opportunity against Villa, obviously Siddiqui against Man United. Look, it's great play and fantastic. I mean, that pass from Enzo to see Siddiqui, that, because it was quick 1-2 sort of thing, or it wasn't even 1-2, so one touches. It was just like bang, bang, bang. And the play's in acres of space, but it's going to the wrong person all the time. And that's what I said. This is why we need the pacey people on which are going to get in behind. And when you look at other teams in the Premier League and the amount of times, and we've been, subject to this season, where we've gone behind and conceded goals against teams that have hit us on the counter purely because of their pace. And they've had a man up top that can put the ball in the back of the net. Now, if you're thinking, if you've got the likes of Wilson, who's going to get opportunities with his pace to get forward and one-on-one with the keeper, he's put the ball in the back of the net this season. He did it last season. My end has done it when he's broke forward. That's what we need. It's not like we haven't got those players. We have got those players, but. And again, I'm not criticising Regis here, but where he's obviously wanted to keep us solid at the back and not concede, which was great in the first half of the season, the last sort of, 8 games we've conceded a few more goals. But I just feel that if we were more attacking at times and changing it up early enough in a game to make a difference, we'd probably come away, like last week. I think we would have come away with a win if we put the right people on that can actually score the goals.
Yeah, no, 100%. That's
Can I just touch on the topic? Sorry.
Yeah, compliment better than that, really. I mean, I was just going to say, Adam. I mean, have you got sort of any sort of thoughts on that side of it? Do you think we need to go mad in the window and
Well,
get another striker in?
I think we are going to spend in the window. I think we're going to spend heavily again. But I just wanted to touch on the Robbie thing, what Robin's saying, because I understand Robbie's an old-fashioned striker, likes to hold up the ball and play somebody behind him. Is there a possibility? My opinion is, do we think this is his first season in the Prem? He's getting to the feel of the Premier League. He's getting to the use of the Prem. Could it be then next season? I'm not saying it guarantee, but is it possibly he will then next season get into double figures? Because when you look at him when he was at Ajax, took him a season to get used to the league. The second season, he set the scene alight and he was phenomenal. Yes, obviously, I know the third season wasn't too great for him because of personal reasons, but could we see that in Bobby? I think we could. I think Bobby will evolve his game in pre-season, come next season, as long as he's got the people around him that will play from, like, so the Enzo a bit more faster, and then Gulo quicker, your Tarbys, your Talbys, things like that, getting them up to speed and understanding of the quickness, the 1-2's a bit quicker than as we had at the start of the season. And I think Bobby will score quite easily. I think he could score quite easy 15 goals next season. And it'll be a question of then, how do we hold on to Brian Robbie?
Well, I mean,
I mean, it's
transfers
not.
is something we'll talk about in the future, but there's already murmurings of that happening anyway. I mean, go on, Robin, you were going to chip in there probably
Yeah, I
about a
was just
similar
going to
thing.
chip in. Sorry, mate. Thought you were going to leave it a second there, but yeah, look, yeah, I get what you're saying, Adam. There's people already looking at Robbie as what Kev just said,
Yeah,
purely because of his strength and everything and what he can do with the hold up play. Because they're obviously looking at like him as a holding, that sort of player, and then someone playing off of him, which I do get.
yeah,
However, to me, that's Robbie's strengths. He's one of those. He's more of a support player like Quinn was. I mean, yeah, Quinn scored a lot of goals, but not a fraction on what Phillips did when he was with us. And
yeah, of course, yeah.
my thing is, I don't think we need to go mad in the window. I think we will spend because by all the rumours, in the likes of your HP and your Heinz, sources that we get, Wilson's wanting away. He's got suitors because of his pace. He can finish. I mean, it doesn't matter who we bring in realistically if they're not going to get game time, and that was the point I was trying to make before. I think we need the game time needs to be managed more, and like I say, it's a difficult job, and I understand it. But at times when Robbie's not doing anything, and other teams are putting two players on him or fouling him, and he's getting frustrated, it's not going to happen. And the thing is, what gets me, and I pointed it out before, Robbie's press isn't the best. Whereas Wilson and Eli, press a lot harder. And you need someone to start that press. And if someone's not pressing when the team's pressing, then there's a weak link in there. And that's when teams are allowed to play out or they get playing out and they put the ball over the top. Because as soon as if we're doing a press, if someone's not involved in that or not giving 100%, there's an easy out ball. And that's when we've got caught. And that's happened this season. And it's like when you see like the ball go back to the goalkeeper, probably doesn't close him down. He just sort of like sits back. He never seems to press him. And I think, if we're going to play a pressing game, which we have at times, we need someone with a bit more pace. And, I'm not saying Robbie's slow, but compared to Wilson and Eli, he is slow.
Yep.
Them two have got a lot more about them. I mean, Eli's probably the one that's going to develop more because he's got both. He's got the strength and he's got the pace. Wilson's more pure pace, but probably the better finisher. To me, Wilson's the best finisher out of the three of them.
Yeah.
Robbie's obviously the strongest with the best hold-up play. And like I say, Eli's a mix of the two of them, but he's young and he's got a lot to develop still. So, yeah, we will bring someone in. Plus, we've got lads that are coming through the unders. I mean, obviously, you've got young Finn Garagusian, who obviously got his international call-up for Armenia. He's one he's probably going to go out on loan next season. You know, you've got players there. You've got young Marcus Neal coming through, another one that's young, but he knows where the back of the net is. I mean, he's more in the
Yeah.
sort of like Kevin Phillips mould as such with his size and that and his movement. And he is very young, you know. But there's always the saying in football: if you're good enough, you're old enough. And we've got
Yeah.
a lot of young lads in the academy which are coming through, which look like they're going to be good enough. And that complements the model as well, you know, because these lads, even if they don't make it with us, or they choose to go their own separate way, as in Tommy Watson did, you know, we got money for him. You know, we had him from a young age, but we got money for him. Big sell-on clause, I believe, in his contract as well. You know, and things like that. So obviously, it's an ongoing income source by developing these young lads as well. And I say, there's not many that make it to the very, very top level, but there's quite a few lads in that academy that will be Premier League footballers if it's with us or someone else.
Well, I mean, like I say, when the season's ended, I'm sure we'll be doing plenty of talking about transfers and movements and rumours because, well, unless we want to talk about the World Cup, lads, let's be honest, there'll be not a lot to talk about. So, obviously, back onto topic a little bit. Everton, we know what they're about. They know what we're about. Realistically, both teams are going to want the points. We're going to want them for bragging rights. They're going to want it potentially for that, like you say, European position. Um, should we go into predictions? Are we ready for that? Unless there's anything else anyone wants to throw
No,
into
I
it
think we
first.
should let Adam do predictions first, so he can't accuse us of nicking his.
Well, I'm just waiting to work out if he's actually still with us or not.
Yeah, I suppose I will have to be. My prediction 2-1. I just think the way Everton are playing as of late, they're actually playing well as a team. The cohesion's there now for them. And Beto is a threat now. After we played them in the FA Cup, he didn't look like he was going to be anywhere near as he is now. And he's actually turning up with the odd goal or two. So 2-1 for me, to us.
Go on, Robin.
Well, Adam's just nicked my prediction. No, not really. No, look, it's going to be a tough game. I actually think that we're going to come away with a 2-0 win, even though Beto and what's the other lad called? The young lad, Barry, are looking a lot better now. They are starting to score goals. I just think with our defence, even though we don't have any, Dan Ballard, I think we'll do all right. And I do think that it will come later in the game. I think Regis is going to listen to the pod, listen to what I'm saying, and we're going to be winning 1-0 for most of the game, and they're going to press, and he's going to go, hang on a minute, we need some more pace up front. He's going to make changes, and Wilson will wrap the game up with a second goal.
Yeah, I was thinking of 2-0 myself because I was thinking a clean sheet to kind of give Roofs that confidence of being able to do them. Because obviously, there was a chance after the Forest game, his confidence would have been all over the shop.
And the Villa game, to be fair.
And the Villa game. Yeah, that was a big thing a lot of people threw straight on was, oh, there we go. We've now started to concede loads of goals. Look at us defensively with this, that, the other. But no, I would like to see us go to the Hill Dickinson and, yeah, get a couple of goals. Like you've just said there, Robin, it'd be nice to get a couple of different goal scorers out there and, yeah, it's come away with a clean sheet so that we head into the final weekend, obviously against Chelsea, with our sort of like confidence up a little bit because for me, I think it's been a brilliant season. yes, we've had a little bit of a wobble recently, but time and time again, we've said it. We would have all taken this position when that final whistle went at Wembley and laughed. We were funny. To be honest, I think we'd have all gone, "Nah, you're funny." We would have thought people were joking with this, but here we are. I think that's everything, really, lads. I think great little sort of catch up, great things to kind of talk about, like you've said, Robin and Adam. Hopefully, this weekend's not spoilt by stupid decisions going the wrong way, and you know, yeah, the atmosphere should be good. That's the one thing I will credit Everton with. They've moved to a new ground and they've actually kept an atmosphere because there are some teams they move stadiums and the, the the soul or the personality of the club disappear. I mean, West Ham are probably the prime example of that. They've moved to that London City Olympic ground or whatever it's called, and there's no atmosphere. But that's a whole different conversation.
They do have bubble machines, though.
Yeah, I know. I do wonder what the clown did wrong to constantly be getting
No,
blown.
to be fair, I mean, the London Stadium is officially, Olympic Park, or whatever. It's never going to be Upton Park or the bowling ground, whatever you prefer to call it. It's just soulless, but it's down to the design of it because it's an athletic stadium.
Yeah. The one thing I just want to say finally before we go is congratulations to Reggie Labrie for being nominated as the manager of the season. So if everybody can get on the website, if it allows you, get voting for him.
Go on, Robin,
I
you go
just
first because I was going to
Yeah,
mention that as well.
yeah, probably the same thing, isn't it? I just want to say, obviously, there's been a thing circulating on socials this week by the Everton fans. Um, Obviously, it would have been Bradley's birthday Sunday. Um, he would have been 15. So what the Everton fans are saying, if everyone can join in with a 15-minute um, minute applause, that's what we want to say. Yeah. So on the 15th minute, let's give a big round of applause for Bradley. We know he's loved by both clubs equally.
Yeah.
Even though he's one of our own, Everton took him under their wing as well. They are a fantastic family club like that. They've always been that way. I know I've said it before in the pods with the clubs in Liverpool. Everton are a different sort of type of person. They're more like us. And I think that's a big thing. So, yeah, let's get that going for everybody. And then at least they might have to mention us on Match of the Day this week.
Well, there is that. That was going to be the part I was going to mention. Was just obviously I'd seen on social the conversation around the Bradley thing. So yeah, thank you for bringing that one up. On the Regis Manager of the Season nomination, I think fair play. I think it's great for him to be even in the conversation. I don't think ever has a newly promoted manager been in that conversation. So for him to have done what he has done is phenomenal. Do I think he'll win it? Sadly, not. It's going to go to a popularity contest. I think it'll end up being probably Arteta or one of the Manchester clubs because of the size of their online fan bases. I wouldn't necessarily say their actual fan bases, which is a shame. For me, it should be based on what a manager has achieved.
Yeah.
You take a team worth £1 billion and you do what you do with them, Pep, Arteta, Carrick, or you get a newly promoted side to compete like we did. That for me is a manager doing a manager's job. I would say Chelsea's manager should be in the mix, but they've had 4 this season, so they probably can't pick one.
Yeah. I mean, I just want to add to that, Kev, because I think that's a really, really good point. I mean, when you look at the manager nominations, you've got obviously Regis, who's come up with a newly promoted team that everyone said would be the whipping boys and would finish bottom.
Yep.
You've also got Keith Andrews, who's not managed before. He's took over a Brentford team that, yes, they're established in the Premier League, but has done better than what the previous manager had done with the experience. And then you've got Indone Areola, who has got this Bournemouth team competing for the Champions League. And you can guarantee the top three are going to be Arsenal, like Arteta that spent a fortune, Pep at City, or Michael Carrick at Man United. So the three managers that actually deserve it probably won't even get in the top three.
Yeah, summarised perfectly, mate. That's what it was for me. It should go to a manager that's earned it based on their ability to manage a team, not who's got the biggest train set. But that's it done, lads. Thank you for both for joining me. There's less than a minute left to go, so I want to just wrap this up and get us out of here. Everyone that's travelling to the Hill Dickinson this weekend, have an absolutely cracking game. Hopefully the weather's good, sun's shining, enjoy a few beers, and then we'll catch everyone on the next one when we'll review hopefully 3 points and see how we get on. Catch you all on the next one.